Hello and welcome to Pulled Focus, where we are speaking to filmmakers who have entered this year's Deep Fried Film Festival. Our guest today is Eddie Cooper, who I'm going to pass you to now. Hi Eddie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello,
Can
hello.
you tell us a bit about yourself and the film you've submitted for this year's festival?
Hello. I'm a writer, director. I come from a advertising copywriting background. And the film that you've kindly chosen is called The Penny Dropped. And it's a little unsettling number, I think is probably the best way to describe it. All the clues are in there, images are there, you just have to pay attention because all the details tell you a lot about the backstory and what happened. So be eagle-eyed when you watch it.
Brilliant. So we're going to have a little look at the trailer now for The Penny Dropped.
Hello? Are you here? Pray the penny will drop. Just one instant.
You haven't kept your side of the bargain.
I need another brilliant story.
Shall we wager again?
That's quite chilling, that. So, what inspired you to make the film?
Originally, it was for some initiative. I think Women in Film and Television had a short film initiative, and you had to enter something that was under 5 minutes. And I'd had this idea of a woman returning to a dark place to ask something rather enigmatic, you don't know quite what it is, for help. And then it's slowly unraveling. So we shot it in a World War II air raid shelter in sort of East London, where the space had absolutely no light at all. And the cinematographer loved it. She didn't have to block out anything. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was an extraordinary space. And even though it was a baking hot day outside, because we shot it midsummer, it was cold. You could see your breath downstairs. It was an extraordinary place.
So it came with its own ready-made atmosphere that way too.
Yeah, it did. And what the other thing was that any rainwater that had kind of seeped into the brickwork above kind of created a kind of mist effect. So you didn't need any smoke or anything because you already had this haze in the place. But if you dropped anything, or if you had anything on paper, it went all floppy and sort of papier-mâché very quickly, because the floor was wet all the time, and the atmosphere was damp. But it kind of it saved us an awful lot of bother, because it already had this kind of atmosphere. It's a very strange place.
Was it quite echoey as well?
It was great because it blotted out all the outside sounds because there was a street market literally one street away going, broccoli, and you couldn't hear any of that. It was fantastically robust because obviously it was built to withstand bombs. So fantastically thick walls. So that's why it never got warm even in midsummer.
Well, it's the UK summertime though. You never know if you will get warm in midsummer.
Yeah,
Were there any other challenges that you faced making the film?
There was a budgetary challenge insofar as I could only afford the one light. So we did it noir style. So there's literally one light that is thoroughly used, and we had a few torches just to create a few shadows and insets. But otherwise, we just had the one light, and that gave us limitations. But also, we just made it work really hard. But everything got wet. Everything got absolutely soaked, which was very peculiar.
So what other filmmakers influenced your work, and when you were making The Penny Dropped, was there anyone who influenced you?
Any kind of the noir, all the noirs, the classic Hollywood noirs, all those kind of just use a simple use of light. That's certainly. I quite like M. Night Shyamalan on a good day. and there's various other kind of The Haunting of Hill House is another huge influence in the things on Netflix at the moment, which hadn't actually come out by the time I'd made this before then, but it's influenced something else I'm doing now. But those are the kind of things I like, where you just don't know what's going on, and it's drip feeding you all information. So it makes you do all the joined up thinking. I really like that. I don't like to be spoon fed all information. I like to be intrigued, and then okay, that's what's going on.
So the penny drops when you realise what's happening.
Yes, well, exactly. That's why it's a double meaning. There's lots of layers of little details for you to spot, and on subsequent viewings you'll see things you didn't see before because of the little details that I've put in. And it doesn't matter if you don't notice them, but when you watch it again, you do.
So is this similar to other work that you've made? Or is it completely different?
I've just made another horror film, which is a little 3-minute. It's more unsettling with a sort of strange twist ending, which has just been in a horror film festival in Portland, Oregon. But otherwise, I make sort of poetry films and dramas. I mean, quite different, and comedies, really, really different stuff, and documentaries about beekeeping. I mean, just couldn't be more different from the horror genre. I just like telling stories.
Having worked in pest control, I thought I knew enough about bees and beekeeping, and then there was so much more that came out of that. So I think that might be something I'll be looking up after this.
Okay.
So what you've been making films for us. So what do you think of the UK independent film industry?
Well, we're all struggling. I mean, certainly over the last, the pandemic, I think it's been a real hard slog for people. But what's interesting is that film festivals don't seem to be interested in seeing films about the lockdown. Because, let's be honest, we want to escape from it, I think. So that's been quite an interesting one. There I think an awful lot of people are making films. There's huge. I mean, Encounters had something like 4,000 entries. I mean, how do you stand out? But there is certainly an awful lot of films being made, and all sorts of standards, and you never understand what film festivals look for. So it's very much kind of potluck sometimes, whether you get chosen or not.
Well, we've been doing Deep Fried Film Festival since 2006, and then had a couple of years break, and because of the pandemic, I was like, no, bringing the festival back. We didn't know what the restrictions or anything would be like, so that's why we're doing it online this year. But film gives you so much of an escape from the day to day that I just felt that the rest of the team as well, and the panel that were going through the submissions, we really felt that we needed an escape, and people needed something different to see as well, because there's only so much Netflix you can watch.
Yes.
So it's been really, really interesting seeing the work that's come in this year. But the penny drop's going to be on. We'll be putting out more information on the timescales and everything, and when everything's going to be shown. But why should people watch your film?
Ooh, I think just to be intrigued, just to find out what happens. Who is this woman? Why has she come to this strange place? And who the hell is that thing in the background, with her little 4-note motif that tells you she's not quite what you think. I think if you like a little cerebral challenge that's not all information on a plate, then give it a go.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. That's A.D. Cooper, and the film is The Penny Dropped. We may be seeing her again during the festival. So we are having an awards night where our audience will be voting for their favourite film within each genre. But for now, this has been Pulled Focus. If you like what you see, make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and that way you will see what's coming up next. But bye for now.